And hello, everybody. Welcome back to Edric, Poon and Company, the podcast where anybody can inspire everybody. I'm Edric, your host, and again, joining us this week will be Mr. Donald Yo, the director of partnerships and esports over at the Gym, Asia's one and only gym for esports. So I'm a fan of Donald's journey, from his work in gaming events to becoming an esports academy trainer and a community leader for Battle Royale Singapore. So he's immersed himself in his very very passion of gaming, and that's led to creating a lot more opportunities for himself each time. So I thought maybe asking him to come onto the show would definitely be very very inspirational for not just myself but all you listeners. And before we get to the podcast, once again, I just want to thank each and every one of you for watching, tuning in, listening, and of course subscribing. If you have any topics, themes, or any ideas of what you think could make this podcast a little bit more interesting for you, feel free to just email me, drop me a message on Facebook, or simply comment in the video. All right, now on to the podcast we go. Hey, hi, Donald.
Hi, Edric.
All
Thanks
right.
for
Hey,
having
thanks
me
for
here.
joining.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on to the show. I know it was pretty last minute, when we texted each other and said, hey, catch up and all this. And by the way, today is we are recording on the 14th of June. All right. I know we're a couple of weeks ahead of schedule, but all right. Your birthday was on the 2nd of June. So happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
belated birthday. How old are you now, by the way?
34.
34 years old. Okay, you and I are not that many years apart. I think I'm 37. I can't remember. 38, 37, something around there. All right. So, Donald, you're the director of partnerships and esports over at the gym. All right. Now, earlier on, I was just introducing the gym, and I went through the website of the gym being Asia's first and only esports gym. Now, first off, a gym is for you to work out, and I've gone through the website, what you guys do, and all this. What exactly is an esports gym? I mean, do you need to do physiotherapy there, as what I've seen with other esports athletes? So, what is this all about? Tell us a bit more, please.
Yeah, sure. So, thanks, Edric, for the introduction. So, okay, how the gym naming came about, right? Um, it's because one of our boss, business partner, yeah, initially he wanted to really just go towards like a more, esport vibe kind of a name. But eventually, his friend said, "Hey, look, there's no gyms nearby, and it's to build up like, the esports scene, right?" And it kind of have like the same idea of building people up, and not just physically, yeah, but
Mm.
this one is more towards like the landscape, teaching people skills, as well as like having like courses, workshops, anything from tournaments to events to your filming, behind the scenes, photo taking. Yeah, we can do almost anything, everything here. So, which is why it says the gym, but we added at the back it says esports center. Yeah,
Mm.
so for people who really thought like it was a gym. There was a couple of inquiries uh, when they didn't really go to our website. They just walk past and they're like, "Hey, is your gym open? Can I sign up?" We're like, what do you want to sign up?" Yeah, there was a couple of it, but most of them, when they see the gym logo and then they see the esports center wording right below, they kind of understand, but they are also very curious, what's actually inside this tree level building right here. Yeah, so on level one itself, we actually is where most of the big shows take place. So if you actually caught us on Twitch, the gym esports center, we have done a couple of events and tournaments such as the gym Singapore Invitational. That was when last year, when Valorant, literally launched, right? And then we invited four local esports team to compete among the highest standard within themselves, and that actually utilized our entire three levels. So level one is where the players are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where the 5v5 takes place, where the whole filming and the competition is. Level 2 is where we have our game casters in an isolated room, so as you know, not to have like surrounding sounds and stuff. And we also have like an interview area where once a player is done playing at level 1, because due to COVID, right, we can't actually put everyone together, and we need to limit to 50 packs. So from there, we'll get the player up to level 2 while the casters are talking. Then they see like, oh, the player is already up on level 2, they will throw it to them. Yeah, then the so-called interview will begin. Then at level 3 is where the production and and all the things are going on. And it also goes down to the command room at level 1 at the back.
Mm.
Yeah, so a lot of things going on.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not just a gym whereby, let's say, for example, okay, look, back in the day, our gym was like a LAN cafe, right? You just go there and then
Mm.
you just slog it out with everybody else screaming, and then after that, ordering some cup noodles.
Yeah.
But now you have dedicated rooms. You also have a
Have.
casting station. You also have an in studio area. I also noticed that you also do training programs as well.
Yes, we do. So recently, I think we partnered up with NTC Enterprise or NTC for the educational portion, and
Mm.
we had a couple of production, like some of the basics of how to do, like, like a podcast at home, or how do you set up a stream at home to do like your Facebook selling, stuff like that.
Mm.
And yeah, we don't have a license or entertainment to do LAN gaming here. But we actually have a facility, a room where we have top of the range equipments,
Mm.
like aftershock PC, top of the line,
Yep.
BenQ monitors, 240 hertz, zero point 0.5 ms, Logitech gears, Omides. You because players, they have different height, right? So they can
Mm.
either adjust the table, to
Mm-hmm.
their preference, or they can adjust their secret lab chairs that
Right.
all of their partners actually come in and help out. So like some of the teams they actually apply, they send in. Most of them would be on FPS, Valorant, CS,
Mm.
and surprisingly, there's some mobile gamers teams that actually came in here as well. So we just provided them like just the Wi-Fi. They are using literally the same space. Yeah, then they hook up, one of the laptops to like the TV, and they do their debriefing right after.
Mm.
And there's like a whiteboard for them to do their tactics. They draw around and everything. So yeah, from time to time, it's very interesting and good to sort of like connect with the ground, yeah, to
Mm.
understand more about like what the players actually need. Because like 10 years ago, I was a player as well. So yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that's the thing. You started off with all of that, right? And then eventually you've seen the gaming landscape change so much, right? Back
Yeah.
in the day, we didn't have mobile games, right? What we had Command and Conquer, there was Street Fighter, there was Warcraft. This was, again, RTSs were probably the thing back then, right? They were the only
Yes.
things that you could really compete with. And now you've got so many different genres of games. And of course, I think right now there's also another category of players which are speedrunners, but I don't even know whether or not they go to a place just to do it since it's all console based. But I digress. Okay, the thing is, from your experience and what you've seen as a past player, and I mean, you're training, you're teaching people, you're also creating an atmosphere for the next round of gamers, for the next phase of gamers. What is the gaming landscape like in Singapore now? Because I would say that, let's put it this way, okay? When we said that, or at least back in our day, if we told our parents we wanted to play video games, they'll say, you go and find a job, you go and study. You fail, I'm going to throw your bloody Sega out, or your computer out. So, what is the gaming landscape now, and how do you think locals are embracing this a lot more?
Um, the gaming landscape has actually changed quite a bit. If you talk about like the the general public embracing it, There's still a bit of biasness right there.
Mm.
Like what you just mentioned. Uh, Studies and paper. Definitely still come first. That is for sure in terms of priority. But our government has been trying to push the art and culture,
Mm-hmm.
and recently gaming as well. As you can see, like there's events such as like Shine Festival
Mm-hmm.
happening at Skip, at Orchard, even down at OCBC Arena, where they focus a lot of the game events. Yeah, and that's done by Skip itself, and Skip is part of MCCY,
Right.
and definitely they're not all out pushing it yet, but they are definitely keen and interested in the landscape where nowadays gaming, especially mobile gaming, is being used to connect with the youths. Yeah,
Mm.
because it's very functional in the sense it's just a very small device.
Right.
Yeah, and right now that small device is so powerful that it can play a lot of multiplayer games. Whether it's mobile, whether it's first-person shooter,
Yeah.
RPG games, so and so forth, and that has actually created a landscape and stuff like Skoga going towards guiding the so-called volunteers, as well as those people that are helping out the youth at risk. Yeah,
Mm.
to connect with them by using gaming, to learn how to express their emotion, to learn how to communicate with teammates, and that's some of the hindsights where people actually don't see it. Because a lot of times, like when you play games, right, you always think of someone just stuck at home staring at the screen. There's little to no interaction, but that has changed a lot
Mm.
from the time where I was using a CRT monitor,
Yep.
the huge S monitor, yeah, and ball mouse. Right now, it's a wireless mouse.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, and the technology has it's just jumped and moved so fast that we kind of still have yeah, sorry, I mean, although technology has jumped so fast, but our mindset, right, is still stuck. Like five
Mm.
6 years ago. It's like um gaming is no good here and there. You don't have opportunities, but I feel it's more of a lack of information as well as the stigma. And uh, that has changed a lot, and a lot of organizations like Touch Community, they are diving into games, organizing some of the like mobile games
Mm.
where the youth at risk, or just general public, or even the parents, to come down, have fun, play together. And I think Skoga has done a lot of this work together with some of the grassroots, whether it's I think with NTUC as well. Yeah, and Scape. So that being said, like what we're using now, it wasn't really there uh 10, 12, couple of years back. And using like a webcam to stream online is
Mm.
it's not even a norm. But
Right.
nowadays, uh the good thing about this lockdown is that it pushes a lot of people online, and therefore people are starting to change their lifestyle a little bit. People are looking
Mm.
at entertainment in a different sense. They're all using like Zoom, Discord, Skype, whatsoever. They just go online, talk together, or even some families connecting, because even the mobile, you can just
Mm-hmm.
FaceTime, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, gaming has come a long way, and a lot of people, especially the general public, um, who are so-called in the middle, that they're not sure whether it's beneficial or not. Um, they tend to lack all this kind of information from the experts.
And if that's the case, right? I mean, this is great. I love the idea that at risk youth
Yeah,
can
you've
be
at risk, yes.
youth at risk, right? Can come and actually learn something from a system like this. So gaming in itself can create that system. Now I'm wondering, right? Has there ever been a corporate group, a corporate organization that comes forward to the gym and says, let's do team building and do LAN gaming like we used to, for example, or But did you manage to kind of throw a curveball at them and go, hey, actually, this is the way we could do it, which is much more beneficial to the team?
Yes, there's a couple of clients. I shall not name them,
Mm-hmm.
but I can say they are banks, corporate banks. So they have offices like in Japan, Hong Kong, uh, uh, no, not Korea, London, Singapore, as well as I think it was Malaysia and Indonesia. So it's like around the region, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and Taiwan as well. So basically, they asked, we wanted to do like what you just mentioned, a team building. Could you have any suggestion? And then we say, well, you came to the right place, and we sent them a couple of games for them to choose. End up, they came back with two titles. I don't mind sharing. Um, they played Jackbox Party,
Mm.
which is available on Steam. I would encourage everyone, yeah, to go and download it and try it out. And another one is a web shooter. I shall not mention
Mm.
the title. Yeah, so when we create like an online server, everyone they don't have to install the game. They just hop on in with the link that we gave them. They join on Discord. We created a whole Discord channel, the function in terms of admin, their staff, so on and so forth. And we created, like the channels, the rights, and everything. And once the whole event is done, the channel is theirs for them to use. Whether they want to do like a office meeting and stuff like that. Of course, they still do continue to use their secured internal software for chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I shall not mention what is it called because it'll be too obvious. Yeah, and from that, we got very good feedbacks. They enjoyed it. Everyone was online, able to look at each other. They were laughing, they were sharing, and they were competing, with each other via some of the games that we showcase to them, guide them along. We're just basically more like the game facilitators. Yeah, so
Mm.
from doing it on site, which we have done before for another bank locally, from and going to online and doing for another bank, but in another country, and uh, that is also quite a learning point for us, where we
Right.
we group together and we're like, 2 3 days, hey, what kind of games best suit the corporates, because you don't expect them to install like a high-end game on their
Yeah.
work laptop, right? And and if it's best, no installation needed.
Right. Unless you're using
If
like
can.
NVIDIA Cloud or something.
Precisely. So we sort of managed to solve those two problems,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, the rest was history. So we recorded the whole process. Take a few screenshots here and there, and then we sent to our client. Yeah,
Right.
and I want to say the client was also very nice. So no fuss.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So when you all did this, right, ultimately when the client came forward, I'd really like to understand as well on the client perspective what their objectives were for this team building session through gaming. What were they expecting and what did they want to get out of it?
Yeah, so through this, right, they wanted to improve communication. They want to improve in terms of like their bonding, because through this time itself, they are away from each other. They're not even able to go to office, right?
Mm,
And they don't usually see each other unless it's for a meeting kind of a thing. Yeah, and with like COVID itself, physical meetings is so hard to happen, and therefore this is some of the major key items that the company is looking at. And of course, definitely have fun and create a sense of unity, and everyone to group together. So at the end of the day, they do give us like feedback, like they really improve their communication together. They really improve their understanding, like, oh, I actually never met that person before.
mm.
I get to know that him or her a little bit better. Yeah, so I guess from the feedbacks that we got, yeah, actually it actually works.
Okay, that's really interesting. Now, if anybody's out, if anybody is listening to this, right, I would recommend that the idea of having international offices compete in very simple web games, right? It's so much better than just doing a regular Zoom town hall or Zoom meeting and we get a
Yeah.
powwow together. Hey, look, if we could allocate like a game a month, just an hour, that would be a great idea, seriously. So, okay, so hit Donald up over at thegym.gg if you are keen. All right, I'm sure that they've got plenty of ideas that can help. I'd also like to check on our gaming events here in Singapore. You know, you've seen, you've been there, you've done that. You know, you've participated in so many different gaming events and even tech events that have some relation to gaming, right? With your, you've done AR sports, you've done, you know, what was that? You were a floor official. You were a technical official at what was it? It
Sea
wasn't the
Games.
Sea
Yeah.
Games, was it? Yeah, it was the
Oh,
Sea
you
Games.
mean it's at Sea Games, Philippines? Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And you know when you do all this, right? When we do it locally versus those that are done overseas, what's the difference between their standard and ours?
Okay, so that's a very, very good question. In terms of standard itself, some of the items and stuff definitely is way cheaper because due to how big their country is in
Right.
terms of resources. Singapore, we
Mm-mm-mm.
only have people,
Yep.
and therefore a lot of events are actually very costly in the sense if we want to do an event, a bulk of the so-called budget goes into the venue itself already,
Mm. Yep.
and that's one of our shortfall or shortcomings for Singapore. But in terms of like network wise, we are actually one of the more stable and fastest in Southeast Asia. But
Mm.
in terms of like the planning and all, the other countries like Philippines, Malaysia, they definitely have uh, sort of a step ahead, versus us, because they have more opportunities hosting larger events, as
Mm.
well as in terms of manpower. uh, they have no lack of talents and
Right.
resources, you see. Yeah. And from there we do learn a lot, and we kind of like give each other feedbacks of what we have done. The methods and execution is definitely just slightly different in terms of how they plan out the whole thing from the start to the end, in terms of like the communications and all. But when it goes into the game rules as well as production, is almost similar. Yeah,
Mm.
there's not like a huge difference, like, oh, I'm using this software, you're using another software. It's almost universal. Yeah, everyone is almost using the same
Right.
hardware as well as software. And in terms of getting, how the event to push on, usually actually the developer so-called has the final say. Like for example, when at C Games itself, um, for the mobile games, they actually specify, we want iPhones and we need it to be connected to LAN, so and so forth. So the equipment is sort of like very so-called like common. Like it's a,
Right.
it like it's a set guideline
But
for
isn't that the
even if we
point? You
do it
have
here.
to you have to do it as a level playing field, right? But I
Correct.
do recall that there was some like say for example, I think it was MLBB. Do they bring their own mobile phones? Do the players bring their own phones?
Yes, they bring their mobile phones if only there is a backup. Yeah, if the main provided phones fails, yeah, then they will kick in with their own phones. But by bring their own phones, it also has a simple set of guidelines. It cannot be bigger than a certain size, so and so forth. Because if you're playing on a tab, you can
Right.
actually see more.
More, right?
You can see more. So there is still a set of guidelines to follow, even though if everyone or anyone is bringing their own brand and stuff like that. Yeah, and for C Games, it's pretty strict. So even if they bring their own phones, certain of their brands have to be taped up. So yeah, there's no concern for that.
Yeah, lah, for copyright infringement or branding or,
Yeah,
or some advertising opportunity over there, right? Now,
correct.
then about the players, right? Now we talk about player standards because we have places like the gym, because we have the sports hub, right? Of course, Team Flash has their own practice facility over there, right? Over at the sports hub. Now, when it comes to that, how do Singapore players fare, and what do you think we need to get to the next step or the next level? Sorry.
Okay, so this is my opinion. Okay, I
Right.
don't speak for anyone. It's a PSA. So, um, a lot of current players lack the discipline as well as the determination. Um, what do I mean by that? Um, I encounter and I get a lot of requests like you should sponsor me, you should pay me a monthly remuneration, for me to hold your brand, to be a team. I mean, to a certain extent, it's not wrong, but uh, unless you tell me your team is so confident that you have been getting podium finishes and you have been setting the records. Of course, that is what you deserve. But unfortunately, a lot of players that have this mindset, they are either starting out or they just won a local tournament, all right, a local tournament. Um, they have not even ventured out, like playing against an international team, to know where they're placing it and their stand.
Mm.
And that is very troubling because um, that shows how much of a determination and so-called a self-entitlement that the
Mm.
player is looking at,
Right.
and um, they don't focus on the game. They're not focusing on themselves, and as well as um, usually most of the time the teams don't go far. Like the team that I had 10 years ago, we stuck together all the way. Like, of
Mm.
course, I do jump to a couple of teams. Like when the first game came out, like CS 1.6. Before that, it's like what? CS 5.6 or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, it's when you go to LAN shops, you're still playing with the wired ball mouse and CRT monitor. Um, Everybody was very bonded, and they communicated last time. For us, we through MRC, MSN. They have groups, and there's sort of like a friendship, a brotherhood kind of a thing. like
Right.
like you form friendships, and it grows stronger, and you guide each other, and you see each other, make sure that everybody gets better. But nowadays, as the thing goes, it sort of become a little bit more toxic in the sense of behavior. Like players are trying to just step on each other to get to where they want, and
Right.
that's not really a favorable thing, for us. Yeah, it's not just in
Right.
Singapore; it's happening, all over the place, and everybody sort of just want this kind of a fast track, you know
Yeah. Correct.
yeah, and be like a star kind of a thing. But they
Mm.
don't see that a lot of things takes years, months,
Right.
and hard work, and build themselves to go forward. So this
Right.
is what I see that the current generation is really lacking a little.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, not many people are willing to put in the hard work, the consistency, to push themselves forward. Yeah, and to really build things. That's the main word,
Mm.
build. Yeah,
Right.
they just when the foundation is not even there. Yeah, they just think they're good, they got lucky, and yeah, they're already flying to the moon.
Right. One of the things is also because we kind of draw reference, right, to what we see, not just among our peers, but also what's on YouTube. For example, there are so many people streaming their own thing, and to some extent, right, it's doable. And because it is doable, then all of a sudden this person may feel like, hey, I can do it too. It means I can be a pro lah, you know. So it's not like back then whereby we didn't have so much reference and you really had to go against others, right? So iron sharpens iron. You guess just have to keep competing against other people to get better, and you
Yeah,
only had your
in the
team.
LAN center,
Yep,
you're just like, hey,
yep,
is your team free? Let's go for a
yep.
match now.
It's like the Green Arcade over in Korea, right?
Yeah,
Same thing. So you had to have that, but those days are over because now you play from the comfort of your own home. You can play with anybody, right?
correct.
Um, and I don't know, somehow or other I think this also applies to anybody in general, right? um, if the if the mindset is to work with your team, to be able to build a team to bring you forward, right, versus me trying to get ahead of everybody else, um, then the enthusiasm, the reason, the purpose is then not for the long run, it's not for the long haul already. And this is where everything fails. But I do agree with you to some extent. It's also impatience. I let's say for example, we're no longer thinking about putting in that 10,000 hours of something to get good. Now it's just I want to get as good as I can as quickly as possible, so I can take this and have this idea that I'm gonna get my pot of gold. So the idea of
And
grit
that kind of
and
thing
hard
don't
work is
really
gone.
work. Yeah,
Mm,
I agree. And that
correct,
kind of
correct.
thing don't always work.
Yeah. And let's say, for example, if a team of kids actually just go, okay, I won't say kids, but let's say aspiring esports athletes. Yes, let's put it that way. Visit thegym.gg and they actually see, excuse me, they actually exhibit that kind of behavior. Do you have it in you? Do you feel like conflict? Like, I work for this, I can't scold them. At the same time, I'm an ex gamer, and it's like, get your head in the game, right? Get your head out of your ass and just get in the game. What are you doing? So do you find yourself in that position a lot?
Yes, a lot of times. And a lot of times, I just give them like a very simple word of advice. Like, if you are serious and you want to go far, I'll put a little bit of my time and effort
Mm,
to guide you guys, as well as manage. But sad to say, along the way, a lot of these teams they don't survive for more than 3 to 6 months,
mm,
and they have tons and bunch of like internal conflicts, and of course like the best player is the loudest, right? You get what I mean?
mm.
So usually like they're not making rational decisions. It's more of like the ego is speaking. You
Right,
get what I mean?
right, right.
Yeah,
I want to be the star
and
player.
yeah, correct. And end of the day is they don't see it as like I'm planning this as a team. But a lot of the decisions that I see along the way is no, I plan it as a team, but indirectly is for me, myself, and I.
Right.
Yeah, and I've been looking at the teams, some of the journeys, like on and off, it'll just pop up on my feed. I'm like, okay, good for you. You're first for now, but how long can you stay there? And then I'm like, okay, I don't wish to put you down, but fingers crossed. Let's see how it goes for the next month or the next event. And then for the next event, they're not even at podium; they just disappear.
Mm,
Like they're going on like a on and off kind of a effect, and the consistency is not there. And is based on what I've just said and what you just mentioned, all and all this kind of things that the younger ones they don't see, and yet the ego is too big, for them to like put it aside and then to ask for help.
mm,
And when you start to step in, tell them, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, and that's where it starts falling apart. Yeah, and they're not determined enough, like to push through. Like, hey, we have a shared goal, and that's what me and my guys we had it 10 years back. We
mm,
were just playing at the LAN at Sydney Leisure, and from there a year, 1 year, 2 years have passed, and suddenly we were just taking part in like regional tournaments, and we start appearing on like the newspaper,
mm,
because we defeated a few European teams, and we almost got signed on by Team Dignitas, but we rejected the offer because ego was talking, and that was the foolish, really foolish thing for us to do. Yeah, but it was a lesson learned, and from there we still stuck on together. Like right now, all of them, some of them are fathers already. Definitely, and we still do talk, and we are so excited for the upcoming Battlefield 2042.
Yep.
Yeah, like we're still playing games, but not so hardcore
Competitive, right?
as yes as last time. And like what you just mentioned, putting in hours just to perfect that one skill, to make sure that I do my part. Like we will sit down at McDonald's, put down the whole map, the plans and everything. It's like people like, wow, this group of poly students or what doing homework. No, no, it's about a game. you know.
Have a real
Yeah,
battle planner.
literally. And then we were so on point. Some of our more well-to-do friends or clanmates, they bring their
Mm.
supercharged laptops, that can run the game. We just literally look in the map, and when we plan, we're like, hey, it takes 10 seconds, the fastest route from point A to point B, and this is how we'll do it. And then we will just do rehearsals again and again and again, just like in real life, before like a SWAT team
Mm.
or a group of special forces, before they storm an area, they would keep going to a mock-up area and a place to run through again and again and again, right? To make sure they memorize it, whether it's muscle reflex, muscle memory, and each and everyone has a task. If we do this and someone is down, the other guy knows what to do. The plan goes on. It doesn't just stop with one man. And that's what I see a lot of times. A lot of teams in Singapore now, they lack this.
Mm.
They're just five major superstars. I'm good. I play my own game. Okay, for a while I'll just like have some teamwork with my friends or with them. Then after that, once it's done, okay, I'm done. I'm good enough. Uh, I'm top tier in Singapore. I'm top tier in Southeast Asia, but they don't have that mindset. I want to be top tier globally. I want to be untouchable. I need to be there. I need to constantly do it in such a perfection that I have zero death this match. Or I need to make sure that my teammate doesn't die, and that is my key objective.
Mm.
And if I don't die, that is a bonus. How do I make sure I make the right decisions? How do I make sure that my muscle reflexes, my reaction, whatever that I move, doesn't cause me that mistake? And most of the time, I see such mistakes online when I look at the matches. I'm like, if it's a pro player, he can miscalculate that. You get what I mean from, like, you have your inner self like, hmm, what are these guys doing? Yeah,
Right.
and like just what you said, but we can't cross the line. We don't
Mm.
cross the line and say, hey, you should do this, you should do that. So usually it just stops there.
Right.
And sad to say, so yeah.
Yeah, you cannot have the holier than thou attitude lah, that's for sure, right? But we must also recognize, that there are levels to this game lah, in that sense, between the the beginner to the amateur to the, I don't know, semi-pro to the actual pros. I mean,
Yeah.
I've caught my own son doing this many, many times. He's 10 years old, and all of a sudden he's saying, this guy stole my kill. I'm like, it doesn't matter whether he stole your kill. Your whole
Yeah,
team is winning because somebody
correct.
got that kill. So why are you upset? He said, no, he stole
Personal
my kill.
glory.
Oh, exactly. So if that starts with a 10-year-old, geez, I can't imagine how that continues to
Mm.
escalate. Now we just take a jog down memory lane. How in the world, right, did you end up getting into the gaming scene? Because again, this whole podcast is about the passion that you have. With the moment I met you, I remember I have always been enthralled with the kind of passion that you had for the gaming scene. If I were to ask you anything about PNL or maybe events, you'd be like, yeah, it's kind of okay, it's pretty interesting. But when you talk about games, all of a sudden you're just everything lights up. There's a halo around you, and you start going. How in the world did you start getting into the gaming scene? Apart from, let's say, outside of playing games, of course.
Outside of playing games, I mean, I have to say it started when I was 5 or 6, very young age. Um, like my parents are working, I gotta like I follow my mom to like Delafrance
Mm.
at Outgang while she's working as a manager. I'll just sit down in the corner, doing my homework and everything. Then if my dad is here, he just passed me $2 and I can spend
Arcade
like two,
time.
3 hours in the arcade. Yes.
Yeah.
And
All right.
and $2 you can't play a lot of games if you suck.
Yep.
At most it'll last you 15 minutes. So
Correct.
what I do is I just watch people play half the time, learn, memorize, and see what they do, and then execute it out myself. And from there, I get better and better. So, like, I just make sure that one token, 50 cents, will last me a good half an hour. I will be able to finish the whole game. Yeah,
Mm.
and that was my aim when I was that young.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, then moving forward, how did like external factors actually got me into like gaming and stuff? It's really towards like my parents. I got to thank them in a sense. I love to draw a lot, but I didn't go into the art and culture direction. Uh, like after school, I tend to hang around, some of the old, shops like the uncle there selling gaming cards.
Yeah.
Then you can put
Upper Serangoon Shopping Center, those kind of.
correct. Then like you put 50
Alim,
cent,
Alim.
then you scroll, and then you squeeze out, small little toys in the
Uh
capsules.
huh.
Yeah, then you over there, some of the shops they do have consoles, and you have like a group of kids, just a group of us. We just go there and watch. Then it's like winner in loser out, right? It's like free
Yep.
play testing. So you try to play as good as you can. You try to hawk the whole machine to yourself. You see,
Right.
yeah. Then from there slowly, uh, the shop uncle seems to see the trend growing, and he make a small competition. Yeah, I was like
Mm.
okay. Yeah, and from there my parents actually bought like Sega, the one with the cartridge.
Yep. Yep.
Then yeah, so
The Mega
I
Drive,
don't really
8-bit.
hang out. Yes,
Or
correct.
16-bit, sorry.
Yes, so I don't really hang out at the shop anymore, but I now invite my friends to come to my place,
Ah.
and like the four of us will just play like you know Power Rangers stuff, so on and so forth. But in a way, it's like when I do well for my exams, they sort of reward me, and the win-win part is they can see me that I'm at home, you know yeah, and I'm not somewhere out there where there's a chance that I might meet some bad influence, and stuff like this. Of course, my dad told me three things, that I must follow: no drinking, no smoking, and no drugs. Yeah, and
Mm.
so far this works for me. Yeah,
Right.
and he gives me the free will, to hang out and stuff, as long as I tell him what I'm doing. I'm following that three simple steps, and it's all good because a lot of my friends do smoke when I was 11 and 12. Whoops. Yeah, 16 or 18 is the legal age, right? But yeah,
Yep.
a lot of them, like in secondary schools, even sec 1, they're already smoking, doing all sorts of nonsense. But looking back, yeah, this is some of the things that led me down. Like I start to see that I'm pretty good in it, and from there, like playing games like Half-Life. Yeah,
Mm.
if you do play the first version of Half-Life, it's not just a run and gun shoot kind of a tactical shooter. It requires you to solve certain puzzles. It requires you to find ways and location to get from A to B without dying or
Mm.
trying to avoid some of the monsters. Like you don't have to fight everybody, and what are the shortcuts can you take? And when Half-Life 2 came out, they put so much puzzle into the game. Like you have to weigh, you have to equal out like the weighing machine before this, sort of things start opening up. Then the door will start opening. How do you find the password? How do you get to A to B? And I refuse to watch online tutorials. I'm like, no, I can solve this, even though I spent extra 2 hours just to like, wait, what have I missed out? You see, and indirectly as the year goes, when I go to school and everything and projects, I start to see that it actually helps me to think out of the box, lazy people tend to find the easiest way, right? Yeah, but it's also, you will try to find the smartest way that you can get from point A to point B to get things done, and to also communicate, negotiate with your fellow group mates. Hey, you do this. Hey, you do that. And indirectly you become like the leader of the group, and it actually helps.
Mm.
And yeah, and from there, like I showed my parents, especially my dad, that hey, I will go far in gaming. And every single time I went for a competition, I would tell my parents, and at one point they actually turned up,
Oh, that's
yeah,
that.
and
Wow.
watched me, yeah, and they saw like, wow, this little bugger got first, yeah, he might have actually some talent in it. Yeah, so from there I show them like these are my friends I hang out with, and so forth. So I took an interesting route from there, yeah, and go into it, and from in terms of like going to a lot of events when I was younger, like gaming, I meet a lot of older friends. Like, okay, they were friends, but before that they were not. So it's like my seniors who are like 10 years older than me. Previously, they're like the marketing executive,
Mm.
manager, that kind of stuff, and they teach me a lot of things: how to communicate, what are marketers looking for, what are partnerships looking for, and indirectly from gaming, from attending events, from asking them, how do I source for sponsorship? How do I request for this? I learn a lot of skills, and that is something that I will never ever learn in school. I will never, never, ever get that sort of uh, 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 knowledge, yeah, and
A-
guidance. Yeah.
And how did all of this, right? Eventually I'm hearing all of this, and somehow or other it's molded your entire career to where you are right now.
So, like what you say, I stuck my foot in it. I wanted to really just stick around gaming, and that's why initially you say I was part of like Battle Royale, and that is a volunteer work. And why that is because part of the reason is I still want to be close to gaming,
Mm.
and also give back a little bit to some of the younger ones who ask for help and they want to learn how to do this, how to do that. And along the way, I went to a couple of jobs like Safra.
Mm.
It's non-gaming. It's just events, customer service here and there. But yet on the sideline, I'm doing Battle Royale. Yeah, and like what you just mentioned, indirectly, this has actually molded me and gave me a lot of opportunities down the line, where I managed to, go into Team Flash, where I went for the interview. I showed them what I can do, what I've learned from the past, and like what I want to share with everybody. Even though sometimes along the way, you may not be doing what you like right now, but
Mm.
just hold on to it. Hold on to it, complete it. You're still learning something. Like let's say the events that I went to Safra, and that has actually helped me when I move forward in terms of doing partnerships and sponsorship. I know what are the processes in terms of the corporate events, or what corporate people want, rather than just gaming, you know. And that is something that I will never know if I never went through that 1 year. Yeah,
Right.
and from there, opportunities open up. I did say, can we do something gaming? And from there, um, we did our first Dota 2 pub storm. It wasn't really a gaming event, but it was a viewing event. And the first one had 200 over people. And yeah, my team, especially like the club manager, was surprised. I was like, hey, it's pretty good. And a lot of Safra members came. Okay, let's put this in for our next year plan. I was like, wow. Yeah, but sad to say I left. But I still came back and help out as a volunteer.
Mm.
And apparently, like what you just mentioned, opportunities open up. And my club manager said, would you like to be a volunteer? We will open up a Safra Tech Club. Yeah. And that's how I became the chairman for it.
Ah.
Yeah. And from there, like I get to meet a lot of people as well from the other corporate side, from the top down. And along the way, I also work with like the executives, yeah, and help them to get certain sponsorship here and there. And so far, I think for PubStorm, it has already been like the fourth version. Yeah, at Safra Yishun.
Wow.
Yeah, so like Safra Yishun, if I'm not wrong, they've still been doing some of a streaming event here and there. And recently, in terms of let me see, I think I just saw one of the things. Yes, Bloomberg, if I'm not wrong, Bloomberg SG. So it says gaming top SG influencers, and on the top Facebook creators, Safra was the eighth position. Safra Asian Country
Wow.
Club. Yeah, so like first is MLBB, Garena, Call of Duty, One Esports. I don't know how to pronounce the fourth one, and fifth is Sync, SYNC, the guy, a streamer and MLBB professional player from
Mm-hmm,
RSG,
mm-hmm.
Per Gamer, Geek Culture, and then it's Safra Ishun,
Wow.
then Rebel Squad, and then Team RSG.
Wow.
So I'm quite happy when I saw that. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, so that is some of the small little things that actually go a long way. Yeah, and I just held on to it lah. Yeah,
Right.
and yeah,
Then you see now what's very interesting here. You were um, somewhat of a pro gamer, right? You didn't sign lah, right? Is what you mentioned.
semi-pro,
A semi-pro gamer. All right. Then
live
you
on
became
the prize money.
a
Mm.
gaming professional, okay, or a professional in the gaming trade. And then, lo and behold, I remember seeing something on your Facebook post, which is that you had an opportunity to do casting.
Yes,
So
correct.
tell me a little bit more about the experience. I mean, casting is not easy, right? What's the preparation like? What did you need to do? And after the whole thing, like, I mean, sorry, what was it like? Just let's just go with that. What was it like?
It was a very, very fun experience. I've been looking at casting for a while. Like, I mean, I did help out at community level,
Mm-hmm.
because there were no casters available, right? And slowly we did ask our friends around. Then I was invited to cast for FSL, the all female league, hosted by Tammy and a bunch of them, Kimberly. And that was for Lenovo CS, and it happened at Funan. So I went in with an old school veteran, Ruben. Yeah, Ruben Lim. He's a very old school CS player as well. And I look at him and like, all right, why not? Yeah, because we've been playing CS for the longest years. So the next thing that comes to my mind, I was like, okay, I need to ask an actual shoutcaster. What do you do? What's the prep work you do beforehand? And then how do you dive into it? And from there itself, other than some of the questions that I've asked, I actually went to do some homework. I watched a couple of clips like from ESL. I'm looking at what the casters are saying, what the casters are doing, because I'm actually doing the observer as well, the camera. Yeah, so casting. So I have to click at the right time in terms of um, who we're looking at, where the action is happening. So it took me a couple of hours. I went online. I create a own channel, and then I added bots in. So I feed it around with all the controls and stuff. I'm like, okay, I need to press this. Okay, here's gonna have a fight. I'm gonna press, and then my co-caster will dive straight into the game and he will talk about it. So I'm more about like the analytical portion because I need to concentrate on observing. Yeah,
Mm.
then I'll try to carry on from what he's talking about, and from there I'll fill in minute details and interesting things about like the teams, the gameplays, and how well, what they've done, so on and so forth. So there's actually quite a bit of prep work, like from understanding what are the rules, going into the maps, knowing who are the teams you are casting,
Mm.
who are the players, how long they've been playing, who is good at what, do we have previous tournament stats, what are the favorite weapons. So there's some of the small trivias here and there, to make the game more enjoyable, more interesting. Yeah, it's like when you're watching soccer, and if there's no commentary, it's like, just boom, boom. Okay, you're just kicking the ball, like, okay. Then you're like, oh, go. Yeah, that's all. But with the commentary in, and with that emotion projected,
Mm.
like when the commentator starts going more hype and he's gonna do the cross, and you're like, wow, you get the vibe, and you feel like you're on scene. So it's the same thing. We gotta bring like the excitement, and that's why sometimes I start to understand like why some of the casters are so sought after, because of their personality and because of how well they, you know, break the game down, into a layman's term where
Mm.
everyone will understand, like, that's what it means. And that's what the caster's job is about, to really describe and bring out the beauty of the game, and let people who don't understand, or maybe certain things happen too fast, and the casters caught it, and then they break it down step by step, play by play, and that's what makes the game actually more interesting, and the caster's job is really important.
Right.
And after that event, um, I did want to kind of explore, but it's really, really very taxing. And I decided to no, it was a fun experience. If there's an opportunity again, I might try, but definitely there's a lot of professionals out there, and there's a lot of up and coming casters. They've been working so much, on like just the foundation,
Mm.
like pronouncing the words. That their pronunciation is so good. The way they sort of like project their voice, and then doing their homework. Yeah, so that's not the path I wanted to go. And that's why I'm like, it's a good experience. Yeah.
Right. And that's great thing because you see now you've done pretty much almost every facet of what you love. This is very, very interesting. And I think that many professionals out there, regardless of your trade, um, if you're really into the industry that you like or that you love, right, somehow or other you'd be naturally curious about all the moving pieces, all the working parts, all the moving parts, and again, in gaming, right, like again, you've been the player, you've been the business development guy, you've been the partnership guy, you've done training, you've done teaching, coaching, mentoring, and now you've even done thrown your hat in and tried casting already. So what's next for you then?
What's next? To be honest, I always wanted to do a very large scale event, but coming to the gym, I've done it.
Mm,
And yeah, of course, there were flaws in between. Definitely, there's always steps for improvement.
right.
So the next step forward is, who knows, like, to publish a game from scratch. Yeah, because back then when I joined Garena, the team was already sort of there, the game was already published, the marketing was already ongoing. I joined as a game master. So
Ah,
I don't feel like I actually put a lot of I actually like drive a lot of the direction and stuff like that. So if I do get the opportunity, I think I would be keen to explore that. And then I think I would have really, really almost covered everything. Yeah,
right.
because over here, I've learned to look at behind the scenes, how production works. Maybe I should go and learn a bit, how to produce, what's the hardware used, like the E2, the systems, what the lapel mic,
Mm,
why do we use it, so and so forth, in terms of what kind of environment, how do you do like the soundproofing in terms of the lighting, and maybe a sound engineer here and there. Like there's so many elements. Yeah, so
Right.
I'm picking up like pieces here and there. Yeah, but one of the most interesting things I want to do would be publishing a game. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, you could get started since Nintendo came out with the Game Builder Garage, right, recently. So you
Hmm.
can get started on that. I just downloaded a demo, so I'm gonna go
I think I'll
fiddle
go
around with that.
download.
Anyway, so this is the final part of the podcast that we always do with every guest, and that is known as the Epic Questionnaire, or 10 questions with. All right, so this is a rapid fire session that I have with my guest at the end of every show, and so just do your best, answer the first thing that comes to mind. All right, so Donald, yo, are you ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Donald, and the Epic Questionnaire. Here we go. Question number one. One word that you love the most.
Zai.
One word that you dislike the most.
Nope.
I agree with you. If you could have a conversation with one person, fictional, non fictional, dead or alive, who would that be?
John Wick.
John Wick. Cool. What do you say to yourself in the mirror every morning?
You're the best.
Nice. Name one superpower that you'd like to have.
Wow, this is tough. Okay, I had that before. Okay, unlimited amount of money. Done.
Okay. Favorite dish to eat.
Fried chicken.
Favorite travel spot or the next travel spot that you like to go to when borders open up.
Korea. Korea.
Korea. North or south?
South.
Okay, just checking. Something in the arts that you've always wanted to do but yet to do so.
Finishing my portrait for my wife. I drew her face. Yeah. If you go to
Cool.
my LinkedIn, you can actually
I
see
saw it.
a, yeah, that. So I actually drew one, and it's hidden somewhere right now.
Very nice. All right, question number 9. What does retirement look like to you?
Gaming, eat, sleep, exercising, repeat.
Nice. And how do you want to be remembered? What's your legacy?
Helping people.
All right, short, sharp, simple, and sweet. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining Donald and myself on this week's episode of the Epic Podcast. Now, once again, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. Please feel free to comment, like, subscribe over at the YouTube page, wherever it is that you are right now. I don't know if you're listening or watching. All right, please do what you need to do. And feel free to also please visit the gym.gg. It's Asia's first and only esports gym. Now, Donald, any shout outs from your side? What do you want to say to our listeners?
Shout out to everyone, anyone that is looking to dive into this space, and thank you for watching. And hopefully, the dream of one day everyone coming to work together without uh, having any political, sites will come true someday.
All right, world peace. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much. This is me and, of course, Donald from thegym.gg. And that's the end of this week's episode. Ladies and gentlemen, peace.